I made a video about 2 months back about being awakened on 2 different occasions at 12:37 a.m., exactly right on the dot. And I heard the words midnight cry in my spirit. That's the title of the video too, so if you want to go back and watch that, you can find it. But we know that the midnight cry in the Bible is where the bridegroom cries out, and that's in the parable of the 10 virgins. So since that video, I have been awakened another 2 separate times at exactly 12:37 a.m. That's 4 times total. And so the first 3 times I heard midnight cry in my spirit, but this last time was different. I heard it's always darkest before the dawn this 4th time. So then for the rest of that 4th night, I heard the song from the Winter Rose, and it's called Every Valley. And this is how the lyrics go. Every valley shall be lifted, every mountain be made low, and the crooked be made whole. Sound the trumpet, for the glory of the Lord shall be revealed. So the scripture comes from Isaiah, and there is great comfort and hope in all of these words, including restoration and what will happen at the end. It is a vision of the future. So God, in his power and his might and his authority, he's going to bring a leveling, and all is going to be made right, and he's going to level the playing field. So in trying to seek more understanding, I'm asking God, can you please reveal this message? What are you trying to let me know? Especially, this is the 4th time I've been awakened. What do you want me to know, Father? I hear you loud and clear. So I keep going back to it's always darkest before the dawn. And when I look up in Strong's Concordance 1237, there's only one translation or definition, and it's valley, which makes sense why that song then was playing in my head about the valleys. So when we look at valleys, valleys can be dark. Physically, they can be dark emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And the Bible frequently details valleys in the spiritual realm as dark times and places. And the most well-known valley is the one that we know from Psalm 23. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Why? Why do we fear no evil? Because he is with us. So I began to look on all of the valleys in my life in the last few days. I'm like, Lord, what are you trying to tell me with all of this? And of course, I go back to one of my darkest times, which was when my grandmother passed away. And I shared with this, I'm all about this on this channel just a few videos ago. And when I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and I just felt this nudging in my spirit to look for the watch. I don't know why, but I wanted to look for the watch that I was wearing about the time that she passed. It was the same time when all my dreams started coming out. And for whatever reason, the band is broken. It's dead. It doesn't work anymore. But I have kept this watch, and I think it's a reminder to me of how precious time is. It was when I was starting to realize all of the deception that was going on in the world. And my grandmother always told me that every single day was a gift. So I've kept this watch. I don't know. I've made a video about it. Before this channel, I had another channel that got, I guess, just completely disappeared. I don't know where those videos are. But I just kept it as a reminder of how precious time is. And I listened to that prompting, and I began digging, because it's been a while since I think the last time I saw the watch was probably 6 months ago. And I went back to my car to look for it, because that was when I recorded that video. And sure enough, it was in the car. Wouldn't you know, this is the time that the watch died on. You can't make this up. 12:37. I almost threw the watch across the car, and I showed my husband, and he was like, because he's the one that I've been waking up, and I'm like, why am I waking up at 12:37? He didn't even know. I mean, his eyes were just bugging out, and my hands were trembling, and I flipped the watch over. You notice the band is broken, and on the band it says it begins now. So I'm like, Lord, I don't know what all this means. Valleys, it's always darkest before the dawn, the time being clearly 12:37. Every time I've been awakened at 4 different times at 12:37 on the dot. All I know is that it came at a time when I was really asking God, what's going on? Are you coming? Because we're ready. But I had this revelation as I was sitting in church today, and maybe I'm just, thinking out loud, but I really believe that the enemy doesn't know exactly when he's coming back. I don't think the enemy has that kind of power. I don't think he has he's not omniscient. He's not omnipotent. I think he lost his privileges when he got kicked out. And I think he doesn't know. So he's just playing a guessing game. So he's like, since I don't know, I'm going to confuse all of your stuff. And I could be totally off base with that. But I shut my mouth after September when it came to certain dates because I was so confused, like many of you were. What time are we in? What calendar are we even on? So Daniel even prophesies about this, and I'm doing an excellent Bible study, and I'm going to link it below because it's incredible. But he says that the enemy is going to think to even change the time and the laws. So some think that this is a future event. It's not taken place yet, but it's already taken place. When we look at Rome changed the law from the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. And they also changed the time of the clock. So they start the day at midnight instead of evening and morning. That's not how God ordained it. So if the enemy can get people to follow his time and forget God's time, forget the feast days, they're not following them correctly anyway, forget the Sabbaths, then eventually we'll forget the one who made them all. I think that is why the enemy has had to have an antichrist spirit in nearly every generation, sometimes multiple. We look at one of the first pharaohs. He killed the firstborn children. Those are God's people because they were too numerous. We look at Herod. He killed all the 2-year-old baby boys and below when the Magi outwitted them because he didn't want any threat to his throne. Fast forward several years to closer to our generation, you look at Hitler and what he did to God's people. And now the AC spirit is alive and well, is about to be revealed, in my humble opinion. But he doesn't even have to hardly do any work because it's being touted as such a gift to the world, and that's abortion. And I know that's a bold statement, and I know I may sound crazy. I don't care. They're getting you to do the same thing, only you're signing up for it in the name of healthcare and self-care. I mean, it's just crazy. I shudder to think of the voices that were silent before their first cry and what they would have added to this generation of incredible God people. So in spite of all of Satan's feeble attempts, Jesus details to us everything that we need to look out for. We are taking off all the boxes in rapid succession. So praise to the Lord Almighty, even though the enemy tried to change everything, Jesus still gives us a checklist. And he's like, this is when you keep watch and you're nothing is going to come and catch you unaware. It doesn't matter if the times are changed, doesn't matter if the calendar's changed, you'll know the truth because I've told you the truth. That's why it's so important for us to know our Bibles. And I know we're in a valley right now. I think that's why God keeps showing me this valley. And it's dark. And I'm going to be honest with you. It is going to get darker. I think it's going to get physically darker. I think it's going to, for sure, it's going to get emotionally, mentally, and spiritually darker and harder. But Jesus promises us that he is going to be with us. We're sleep training with our baby. And we kind of spoiled her a little bit. She's baby number 4. And we're trying to teach her, because she's trying to wake up like 10 different times in the night, that she doesn't need to be picked up and rocked back to sleep 10 times. Mommy needs rest too. And so I've been trying to teach her that I'm still there. in the dark, and I place my hands on her back when she cries. So she was, right before I came out here, I'd already put her to sleep. She cried for mama. I went out back into the room, and in the darkness, because she's real sensitive, we have to keep like blackout curtains in there. I put my hands on her back, and she fussed and she whimpered a little bit, but I'm not going to leave her in the dark by herself. She's so little. She needs her mama. She needs to know that we're there. And I put my hands gently on her back, and after she fusses for a little bit, she takes out this big sigh, and I can feel her body move into deep, slow, rhythmic breathing patterns. And I knew that she knew that I had her. And I believe that that is what Jesus is telling us to do right now. It doesn't matter how dark it gets, because the dawn will come. I am telling you, he tells you, every valley is going to be lifted. Every mountain is going to be brought down low. There's going to be a reckoning when the dawn comes. The only thing that the devil knows about time is that his is short. Tick, tock.